I'd like to discuss Ordinance 2018-02. I want a motion for the township directly for the township attorney to prepare an amendment to Chapter 151 for the introduction at the next regular meeting under the following basis and reason. In the New Jersey Supreme Court case of Torres v. Borough of Pine Hill, the court recognized the right to videotape open public meetings and was subject to reasonable restrictions. My concern with Chapter 151 is that it regulates that right with vague and conflicting language rather than clear and objective standards. That really matters because violations of Chapter 151 are punishable under the township's general penalty provision, which allows up to a $2,000 fine, 90 days in jail, or 90 days of community service, in which these penalties are on par with a second DUI violation. If the township is going to regulate a recognized right with penalties like that, it should do so cleanly and fairly, in a way that's tied to actual disruption, safety, obstruction, or non-public portions of the meeting. As written, the ordinance leaves too much subjective interpretation in the moment, and it means too much depends on discretionary enforcement by a presiding officer rather than on clear rules applied equally to everyone. This motion is in the interest of the constitutional right to document government process without making the penalties so severe that it effectively inhibits that right, effectively promoting transparency, and is about making it clear and more defensible. Gives the committee that opportunity either to reaffirm the ordinance currently as written or support clarifying it. Either way, the public deserves a clear record on where each member stands on the matter.
I just, for information's sake, I talked to my father and he contacted me about this. It makes sense. This ordinance has been in effect for, I think, at least 6 years, and it was a time when you had the big cameras, so people would come in and they'd set up and tables and that type of thing. And people were sitting in the front row and had tables where people could trip. So the court said that, well, as long as you set, people are allowed to take meetings, but you can have reasonable restrictions. So at the time, you had these big cameras, so you wanted to keep them in the back rows. And, you know, have to do that. So the technology's just changed. I mean, there's restrictions on cell phones. I mean, now you have cell phones that can record. Back then, you didn't have that. So it's probably not a good idea.
What's vague and conflicting about the current ordinance? I hadn't read it until it was circulating, so I didn't know it was close. But
Yeah, sure. I mean, one part of the provision of it, or section of it, it says remain with equipment at all times. So what would you define as remaining equipment with the equipment? I'm just asking generally. Like, would it be standing next to
is
it?
that vague or is that?
I mean, it would be very vague. No, it'd be very vague because does it mean stand by the equipment? Like, is there a certain radius at which you violate that? So, like, if you're within 5 feet, is that okay? Or is it after 10 feet you're not? If I have to leave the room or someone leaves the room to go to the bathroom, are they in violation of that chapter? It doesn't quite specify that's what I mean by vague.
I wasn't here at the time. I heard about this.
Well, neither was I. I wasn't even in this
We're in
town.
the same place. My understanding was that there was a period of time where people would set up equipment, leave the room, the cameras were beeping, the battery was dying or whatever, and they weren't near the equipment, and it became disruptive. Now, I understood the whole purpose of the ordinance was because no one's saying you can't record meetings with equipment. You just can't be disruptive. So, is that still the goal of the ordinance in your mind? Like, you would maintain that? You just want to modify some of the language?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want a camera beeping or making noise or some offensive type lighting. Nothing like that.
That all stays.
Yeah, of course.
What would you remove other than staying with the camera? This whole conversation.
I mean, I can go through the entire draft.
If you just give a few items why we're raising something that's been on the books for 8 years, my understanding, no one's ever been charged on this.
I mean,
there are issues in town, there's ordinance issues, I don't hear about them every couple of weeks. But no one ever complains about this other than you raising it tonight. So I just want to be
just
confused why this is so important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here.
I mean, I'm bringing it up because I was going through a couple different ordinances that I found, and this ordinance it's not just me bringing it up. It was actually reported on by 4 different news agencies as also being an overstep into, say, the First Amendment or documenting government meetings. So it's not particularly just me. At the time, 2018, there were those 4 agencies that reported on this. Obviously, I wasn't living here at the time.
8 years ago, there were 4 news reports on this.
4 news agencies, yes.
Okay. In the last 3 years, has there been a single report on this ordinance anywhere?
Well, I mean, the news cycle moves on.
The answer is no.
I would say no.
No. Okay. Has anyone been charged on this ordinance in 8 years? For the record?
It doesn't particularly matter if it's still an egregious type of ordinance.
Look, I'm not against you want to modify it because in theory, it should be better worded. But we've got a lot of issues in town that probably deserve more airtime. We have a school board that's increasing the budget by 5%, or taxes are going up 5%. Because of that.
You're welcome to bring it
That's
up.
an issue the people in township are concerned about.
Yeah, and I 100% agree, and that's why I 100% agree.
You write an ordinance, you know.
I 100% agree. That's why you can add it to new business. Like if it's an issue that you have, of course, bring it up. Be happy to talk about it.
Any other new business?
What I think, Michael, you want to.
Yeah, I put the motion on the table already.
Updating ordinance that goes right here.
Correct.
Something. Okay.
Absolutely.
Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, the motion's already on the table.
So what is the motion exactly?
To have the attorney review the draft and prepare an amendment for Chapter 151 for introduction to the next regular meeting.
You want it done in 2 weeks?
There's already a draft that I did, but I would like the township attorney
Well,
to.
we've not seen a draft.
I
haven't anyway. Didn't see the draft. Did you prepare
Well,
a draft? Did the attorney?
Well, I'm not a lawyer, so I would like the lawyer to review it and then disperse it among the committee members.
Do I have a second? Seeing none. Any others?